this one is from your former partner, Joshua Van Tool, in Albany.
For the most part, honest and reliable. Occasionally, willing and diligent. Seems to be a certain amount of hesitation about these recommendations.
Businessmen aren't writers, Your Honor. There's only one good businessman in 1,000 that can write a good letter of recommendation, Your Honor. Joshua Van Tool sends his best wishes and wants to know if you can use me in the hay, feed, provision, and hardware business.
Not so fast, not so fast. What's this Your Honor you use so much?
Well, Joshua Van Tool says that you're the president of the Hudson River Provision Dealers Recreational Musical and Burial Society.
I am. But there's no Your Honor that goes with it. Why did you come to Yonkers?
Well, I heard that you had an apprentice that was a good-for-nothing and that you were at wit's end for another.
Wit's end? Wit's end? There's no dearth of good-for-nothing apprentices.
That's right, Mr. Vandegelder. It's employers there seems to be a dearth of. Seems like you hear of a new one dying every day.
What's that? Hold your tongue. I see you've been a barber and a valet, too. Why do you change your place so often?
Changed my place, Mr. Vandegelder. When a man is interested in experience...
Do you drink?
No, thanks. I just had breakfast.
I didn't ask you what... Idiot! I asked you if you were a drunkard.
No, sir. Why looking at it from all sides? I don't even like liquor.
Well, if you keep on looking at it from all sides, out you go. Remember that. Here. With all your faults, I'm going to give you a try.
You'll never regret it, Mr. Vandegelder. You'll never regret it.
Now, today I want to use you in New York. I judge you know your way around New York.
Do I know New York, Mr. Vandegelder? I know every hole and corner in New York.
Here's a train leaves in a minute. Take that bag to the Central Hotel on Water Street. Have them save me a room. Wait for me. I'll be there about 4 o'clock.
Yes, sir. Oh, before I'm to go, I'd like to meet the other clerks I'm to work with.
You haven't time! Hurry now, the station's across the street.
Yes, sir. You'll never regret it, Mr. Vandegelder. You'll never regret it.
I regret it already. Go on, off you! 99% of the people in the world are fools, and the rest of us are in great danger of contagion. But I wasn't always free of foolishness as I am now. I was once young, which was foolish. I fell in love, which was foolish. And I got married, which was foolish. And for a while I was poor, which is more foolish than all the other things put together. Then my wife died, which was foolish of her. I grew older, which was sensible of me. And I became a rich man, which is as sensible as it is rare. Since you see I'm a man of sense, I guess you were surprised to hear I'm planning to get married again. Well, I have 2 reasons for it. In the first place, I like my house run with order, comfort, and economy. That's a woman's work. But even a woman can't do it if she's really being paid for it. In order to run a house well, a woman must have the feeling that she owns it. Marriage is a bribe to make a housekeeper think she's a householder. And the second reason, ladies and gentlemen, well, I see by your faces you've guessed already. There's nothing like mixing with women to bring out all the foolishness in a man of sense. And that's a risk I'm willing to take. I've just turned 60, and I've just laid side by side the last dollar to my first $500,000. So if I should lose my head a little, I still have enough money to buy it back. After many years, caution and hard work, I have the right to a little risk and adventure, and I'm thinking of getting married. Yes, like all you other fools, I'm willing to risk a little security for a certain amount of adventure. Think it over.
Your trunks to the station. Quick, we're running away.
Running away?
Shh.
Where?
To New York to get married.
Ambrose, I can't do that. Ambrose, dear, it wouldn't be proper.
Listen, I'm taking you to my friend's house. His wife will take care of you.
A girl can't go on a train with a man. I can see you don't know anything about girls.
But I'm telling you, we're gonna be married.
Married, but
of a field mouse.
Ambrose, why do you say such cruelties to me?
Last time I begged you, get your hat and coat. The train leaves in a few minutes. Oh my God, we'll be married tomorrow.
Ambrose, I can see you don't know anything about weddings. Ambrose, don't you respect me?
Good morning, darling girl. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Levi.
Oh, and who is this young gentleman who is so devoted to you?
This is Mr. Kemper, Miss Levi. This is Miss Levi. She's an old friend.
Mrs. Levi, born Gallagher. Very happy to meet you, Mr. Kemper.
Good morning, Miss Levi.
Ambrose Kemper, your artist. Oh, delighted. Mr. Kemper, may I say something very frankly?
Yes, Miss Levi.
This thing you were planning to do, eloping, it's a very great mistake.
Oh, Miss Levi, please explain to Ambrose. Of course I want to marry him, but elope? How?
No, darling, no. You go in and you keep one eye on your uncle. I wish to talk to Mr. Kemper alone for a moment. Give us a warning when you hear Horace coming.
Yes, Miss Levi.
Mr. Kemper, I was this dear girl's mother's oldest friend. Believe me, I am on your side. I hope you two will be married very soon, and I think I can say I can be of real service to you. Mr. Kemper, I always go right to the point.
Miss Levi, what is the point?
Mr. Vandergelder is a very wealthy man, Mr. Kemper, and Ermengarde is his only living relative.
But I'm not interested in Mr. Vandergelder's money. I have enough to support a wife and a family.
Enough! How much is enough, Mr. Kemper, when one is thinking about children and the future? The future is the most expensive luxury in the world.
Miss Levi, what is the point?
Believe me, Mr. Vandergelder wishes to get rid of Ermengarde, and if you follow my suggestions, he may even permit her to marry you. You see, Mr. Vandergelder wishes to get married himself.
What? That monster?
Monster, Mr. Kemper!
I'm not married to you, Miss Levi?
No. I'm merely arranging it. I'm helping him find a suitable bride.
For Mr. Vandergelder, there are no suitable
I
brides.
think we can safely say that Mr. Vandergelder will be married to someone by the end of next week.
Well, what are you suggesting, Miss Levi?
I am taking Ermengarde to New York on the next train. I shall not take her to Miss Van Heusen's as planned. I shall take her to my house. I would like you to call for her at my house at, let's say, 5:30. Here is my card.
Miss Dolly Gallagher Levi, varicose veins reduced.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
I beg your pardon. Consultations for.
I meant to give you my other card. Here.
Miss Dolly Gallagher Levi, Aurora Hosiery, instruction in the guitar and mandolin. You do all these things, Miss Levi?
Well, 2 and 2 make 4. Mr. Kemper always did. So you will come to my house at 5:30, and at 6 I shall take you and Ermengarde with me to the Harmonia Gardens restaurant on the Battery. Mr. Vandergelder will be there, and everything will be arranged.
How?
Oh, I don't know. One thing will lead to another.
How do I know I can trust you? You can easily make our situation worse.
Mr. Kemper, your situation could not possibly be worse.
I wish I knew what you get out of this, Miss Levi.
Oh, that is a very proper question. I get 2 things, profits and pleasure.
How?
Mr. Kemper, I'm a woman who arranges things. At present I'm arranging Mr. Vandergelder's domestic affairs, and out of it I get, shall we call it, little pickings? I need little pickings, Mr. Kemper, and especially just now, and I haven't even got my train fare back to New York. You see, I'm frank with you.
That's your profit, but where do you get your pleasure?
Yes, my pleasure. Mr. Kemper, when you artists paint a hillside or a river, you change everything a little. You make thousands of little changes, don't you? Nature is never completely satisfactory, and it must be corrected. Well, I'm like you artists. Life as it is never quite interesting enough for me. I'm bored with life as it is, and so I do things. I put my hand in here, and I put my hand in there, and I watch and I listen, and often I am very much amused.
Not in my affairs, Miss
Wait,
Levi.
Mr. Kemper, wait, I'm not finished. There's another thing. I'm very interested in this household here, in Mr. Vandergelder and all that idle, frozen money of his. I don't like the thought of it lying in great piles, useless, motionless in the bank, Mr. Kemper. Money should circulate, like rainwater. It should be flowing down among the people, through restaurants and dressmakers and cabmen, setting up a little business here, furnishing a good time over there. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
New York should be a very happy city, Mr. Kemper. But you know that it isn't. My late husband, Ephraim, he came from Vienna. Now, there's a city that understands this. I want New York to be more like Vienna and less like a collection of nervous and tired ants. And if you and Ermengarde get a good deal of Mr. Vandergelder's money, I want you to see that it starts flowing in and around a lot of people's lives. And for that reason, I'm taking you both with me to the Harmonia Gardens restaurant tonight.
Mrs. Levi, oh,
Mr. Kemper, you better be going. Darling girl, Mr. Kemper and I have had a very good talk. You'll see, Mr. Vandergelder and I will be dancing at your wedding. Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, how handsome you look! Oh, you take my breath away. Yes, darling girl, see you soon. Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, oh, if only Irene Malloy could see you now. Oh, but then, I don't know what's come over you lately. You seem to be growing younger every day.
Allowing for exaggeration, Miss Levi. If a man needs careful, there's no reason why he should look older.
Oh, you never said a truer word.
We'll never see 55 again.
52?
Miss Levi, I've practically decided to ask Miss Malloy to be my wife.
You have?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have? Well, I guess that's just about the best news I ever heard. So there's nothing more for me to do, of course, but wish you every happiness under the sun and say goodbye.
Well, Miss Levi, surely I thought...
Well, I did have a little suggestion to make. Oh, but I won't. You're going to marry Irene Malloy, and that closes the matter.
What suggestion was that, Miss Levi?
Well, I had found another girl for you.
Another?
Oh, the most wonderful girl, Mr. Vandergelder, the ideal wife.
Another, huh? What's her name?
Her name?
Yes.
Her name, yes, her name. It's, oh, what am I trying to say? Ernestina Simple. Miss Ernestina Simple. Oh, but now, of course, all that's too late after all. You're engaged. You're practically engaged to marry Irene Malloy.
Oh, I ain't engaged to Miss Malloy.
Oh, nonsense. You can't break poor Irene Malloy's heart right now and change to another girl. When a man at your time of life calls 4 times on an attractive widow like that and sends her a pot of geraniums, oh, that's practically an engagement.
That ain't an engagement.
And yet, if only you were free. Oh, I found this treasure of a girl. Every moment I felt like a traitor to Irene Malloy, but let me tell you, I couldn't help myself. I told Ernestina Simple all about you, just as though you were a free man. Oh, isn't that dreadful? The fact is, she's fallen in love with you already.
Ernestina?
Ernestina Simple.
Ernestina Simple.
Of course, she's a very different idea from Miss Malloy. Ernestina is, like her name, simple. Domestic, practical.
Can she cook?
I'll cook, Mr. Vandergelder. I had 2 meals from her hands, and as I live, I don't know what I've done that God should reward me with such meals. I'm the best cook in the world myself, and I know it's good.
How old is she, Miss Levi?
19. Oh, well, say 20.
20? Miss Levi? Girls of 20 are apt to favor young fellows of their own
Oh, but
age.
you don't listen to me, and you don't know the girl. Mr. Vandergelder, she has a positive horror of flighty, brainless young men. A fine-headed gray hair, she says, is worth 20 shined up with goose grease. No, sir, I like a man that's settled. In so many words, she said that. Oh.
That's not usual, Miss Levi.
Usual. I'm not wearing myself to the bone hunting up usual girls to interest you, Mr. Vandergelder. Usual indeed. Listen to me. Do you know the sort of pictures she has on her walls in her bedroom? Is any of these young Romeos and Lochinvars? No, it's Moses on the mountain. That's what she's got.
What about her family?
Her family's, her father. Oh, God, be good to him. He was the best. Oh, he was the best. Oh, what am I trying to say? Undertaker. The best undertaker in all of Brooklyn. Respected, esteemed. He knew all the best people. Knew them well, even before they died. So, well, that's the way it is. Now, let me tell you a little more of her appearance. Can you hear me, Mr. Vandergelder? I say, a beautiful girl, beautiful. I've seen her walk down the street. You know what I mean? The young men, they get dizzy. They have to lean against lampposts, and she, oh, modest, eyes on the ground. I'm not going to tell you any more. Couldn't you come to New York today?
I was thinking of coming to New York this afternoon.
Oh, Work? Oh, well, I wonder if something could be arranged. Oh, she's so eager to see you. Oh, let me see.
Could I, Miss Levi, can I give you two girls a little dinner, maybe?
Oh, really? Come to think of it, I don't see where I could get the time. I'm so busy over that wretched lawsuit of mine. Yes, if I win it, I don't mind telling you I'll be what's called a very wealthy woman. I'll own half of Long Island, that's a fact. Oh, but just now I'm at my wit's end for a little help, just enough money to finish it off. Oh, my wit's end. But I suppose I could arrange a little dinner. Oh, yes, for that lawsuit, all I need is $50, and Farmingdale is as good as mine. I've been trotting all over New York for you, trying to find you a suitable wife, and the least you could do is...
$50?
For 2 whole months I've been trying...
$50, Miss Levi, is no joke. Fine. Come on. It's stuck. Give me a second. There's 20. There's 25. I can't spare no more. Not now, I can't.
Oh, well, this should help. No, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll bring Ernestina to that restaurant on the Battery. You know it, the Harmonia Gardens. It's good, it's not flashy. Now, Mr. Vandergelder, I think it'd be nice if just this once you'd order a real nice dinner. I guess you can afford it.
Well, just this once.
A chicken wouldn't hurt.
Chicken? Just this once.
And a little wine.
Wine? Just this
And
once.
about Irene Malloy, what do you think? Shall we call that matter closed?
No, not at all, Miss Levi. I want to have dinner with Miss...
Simple.
Oh, with Miss Simple. But first I want to make another call on Miss Malloy.
Dear, dear, dear. And Miss Simple? Oh, what races you make me run. Very well. I'll meet you on one of those benches in front of Miss Malloy's hat shop at 4:30 as usual.
The buggy's here. Ready for the parade, Mr. Vandergelder?
Call I want to talk to both of you.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder.
Now, do put your thoughts in order, Mr. Vandergelder. I can't keep upsetting and disturbing the finest women in New York City unless you mean business.
Oh, I mean business, all right.
Oh, I hope so, because, you know, you're playing a very dangerous game.
Dangerous? Dangerous, Miss Levi?
Why, of course it's dangerous, and there's a name for it. You're tampering with these women's affections, aren't you? And the only way you can save yourself now is to be married to someone by the end of next week, so think that over.
This morning I'm joining my lodge parade, and this afternoon I'm going to New York. When I come back, there are going to be some changes in the house. I'll tell you what that change is, but I don't want you discussing it amongst yourselves. You're going to have a mistress.
But I'm too young, Mr. Vandergelder.
Not yours! Ugh. Death and damnation. Not yours, idiot. Mine. Hey! Hold your tongue until you're spoken to. I'm thinking of getting married.
Many congratulations, Mr. Vandergelder. And my compliments to the lady.
That's none of your business. Now go back to the store. Have you got any questions you want to ask before I go?
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder. Mr. Vandergelder, does Chief Clerk get one evening off every week?
So, that's the way you begin being chief clerk, is it? When I was your age, I got up at 5. I didn't close the shop until 10 at night. And then I put in a good hour at the account books. The world's going to pieces. You elegant ladies lie in bed until 6, and at 9 o'clock at night, you rush to close the door so fast, the line of customers bark their noses. No, sir. You'll attend to the store as usual, and on Friday and Saturday nights you'll remain open until 10. Now hear what I said. This is the first time I've been away from the store overnight. When I come back, I want to hear you run the place perfectly in my absence. If I hear of any foolishness, I'll discharge you. An evening free. Do you suppose that I had evenings free? If I had evenings free, I wouldn't be what I am now.
The horses nearly ran away when they saw him.
What's the matter, Cornelius?
Chief Clerk? Promoted from Chief Clerk to Chief Clerk.
Don't you like it?
clerk. And if I'm good, in 10 years, I'll be promoted to chief clerk again. 33 years old and I still don't get an evening free? Barnaby, when am I going to begin to live?
You can begin to live on Sundays, Cornelius.
That's not living. Twice the church and old Wolf Trap's eyes in the back of my head the whole time. And as for holidays, what did we do last Christmas? All those canned tomatoes went bad and exploded. We had to clean up the mess all afternoon. Now is that living?
No.
Barnaby, how much money you got? Where you can get at it?
$3. Why, Cornelius?
You and I are going to New York!
Cornelius, we can't close the store?
Some more of those rotten tomatoes are going to explode.
Holy cabooses! How do you know?
I know they're rotten. All you have to do is light a match under them. They'll make such a smell that customers can't come into the store for 24 hours. That will get us an evening free. We're going to New York too, Barnaby, and we're going to live. I'll have enough adventures to last me until I'm partner. So go and get your Sunday clothes on.
What?
Yes, I mean it. We're going to have a good meal, we're going to be in danger, and we're going to spend all of our money.
Holy cabooses!
And one more thing. We're not coming back to Yonkers until we kiss the girls.
Kiss a girl? Cornelius, you can't do that. You don't know any girls.
I'm 33. I've got to begin sometime.
Well, I'm only 17, Cornelius. It's not so urgent for me.
Don't start backing down now. If worst comes to worst and we get discharged from here, we could always join the army.
Wait, did you say that you'd be old Wolf Trap's partner?
How can I help it? The guy's getting old. If you go to bed at 9 and open the store at 6, you're promoted upwards whether you like it or not.
Why? Partner.
Oh, there's no way of getting away from it. You and I will be Vandergelders.
I? Oh no. I may rise a little, but I'll never be a Vandergelder.
No, you and I are going to be Vandergelders. All the more reason then for us to have a little bit of adventure into us now. Will you come, Barnaby?
But Wolf Trap? But Gertrude? Yes, Cornelius!
Mr. Hacker, is the trunk waiting at the railroad station?
Yes, Mrs. Levi.
Take a last look, Ermengarde.
What?
Well, take a last look at your girlhood home, dear. Oh, I remember when I left my home. I gave a whinny like a young colt, and off I raced.
Oh, Gertrude, do you think I ought to get married this spring? A young girl has to be so careful.
You know, I think I'm going to have this room with blue wallpaper. Yes, blue!
All clear up here, Cornelius? Cornelius, hold the candlestick a minute. The bottom row looks all right, but try the top now. They're swelled up like they're ready to burst. Holy cabooses! Cornelius, I can smell it from up here.
Get into your Sunday clothes, Barnaby! We're going to New York!
Sweeter and better in life than avoiding its weary turmoil, and be welcomed at home by your own little wife when you've finished your diurnal toil. Of course you must give up your bachelor ways and the smile that you always have carried, and think with remorse on your own reckless ways. Nevertheless, you'll miss lots of fun when you're married.
Minnie, you're a fool. Of course I shall marry Horst Vandergelder.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, I didn't ask you. I wouldn't dream of asking you such a personal question.
But it's what you meant, isn't it? And there's your answer. I shall certainly marry Horst Vandergelder, if you should ask me.
I know it's none of my business.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
But do you love... Do you...
Minnie, you're a fool. Say it. Do I love him? Of course I don't love him, but I have 2 reasons for marrying him just the same. Minnie, put something on that hat. It's not ugly enough.
Not ugly enough.
I couldn't sell it. Put a sponge on it.
Hey, Mrs. Malloy, you're in such a mood today.
In the first place, I shall marry Horst Vandergelder to get away from the millinery business. I've hated it from the first day I had anything to do with it. Minnie, I hate hats.
And what's the matter with the millinery business?
I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman while I have nothing to show for it. I can't stand it.
I know my dream is suspecting you.
Minnie, you're a fool. All millineresses are suspected of being wicked women. Why, half the time all those women come in merely to look at me. They enjoy the suspicion, but they aren't certain. If they were certain I was a wicked woman, they wouldn't set foot in this place again. Do I go to restaurants?
No.
No. It would be bad for business. Do I go to theaters or balls or operas?
No.
No. It would be bad for business. The only men I ever meet are feather merchants. What are those 2 men doing out there on that park bench? Mark my words, Minnie. Either I marry Horst Vandergelder, or I break out of this place like a fire engine. I'll go to every theater and every ball in New York City.
But, Mr.
Speak up, Minnie, I can't hear you.
I don't think he's attractive.
But what I think, and it's very important, I think he'd make a good fighter.
Mrs. Malloy.
Believe me, Minnie, the best part of the married life is the fights. The rest is merely so-so.
I won't listen.
Peter Malloy, God rest him, was a fine arguing man. I pity the woman whose husband slams the door and walks out at the beginning of a good argument. Peter Malloy would fight for hours on end. He'd even throw things, Minnie. And there's no pleasure equal to that. Why, when I felt tired, I'd start a good blood-warming fight and it'd take 10 years off my age. Now I know Horst Vandergelder would put up a good fight. I've a mind to marry him.
I think they're just awful, the things you're saying today. Mrs. Malloy, those 2 men out in the street.
What?
Those men, it looks as if they meant to come in here.
Well now, it's time some men came in here for a change. I could be the younger one, Minnie.
Aren't you terrible?
Wait till I get my hands on that older one. Mark my words, Minnie. We'll get into this one yet. Adventure. Adventure! Why does everyone have adventures except me, Minnie? Because I have no spirit. I have no gumption. Quick, they're coming in here. Let's make them wait in the workroom for us a minute.
Come on, Mrs. Malloy, my word.
Hurry up, come quick now.
No one's here.
Some women were here a minute ago. I saw them. That's Wolf Trap, all right. Well, we'll just have to stay here until he passes by.
He's sitting down on that bench. It might be quite a while.
We'll just have to make conversation until he goes away. We'll pretend we're buying a hat. How much money you got now?
40 cents for the train, 20 cents for dinner, 20 cents to see the whale. Dollar I lost. I have 70 cents.
And I have $1.75. I wish I knew how much hats cost.
Is this an adventure, Cornelius?
No, but it may be.
I think it is. There, we wander New York City all day and nothing happens. And then we come to the quietest street in the entire city, and Mr. Vandergelder turns the corner. I think it's an adventure. I think. Cornelius, that Miss Levi's there now. She's sitting on the bench with him.
What do you know about that? We know only one person in all of New York City, and there she is.
Even if our adventure came along now, I'd be too tired to enjoy it. Cornelius, why isn't this an adventure?
Don't be asking that. When you're in an adventure, you'll know it all right.
But maybe I wouldn't. Cornelius, let's arrange a signal for you to give to me when an adventure's really going on. For instance, you say, pudding. You say pudding to me if it's an adventure we're in.
I wonder what the lady who runs the store is. What's her name again?
Mrs. Malloy, hats for ladies.
Oh, yes! I must think of what I'm going to say whenever she comes in. Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. Wonderful weather we're having. We've been looking everywhere for some beautiful hats.
That's fine, Cornelius.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. Wonderful weather. We'll make her think we're very rich. Good afternoon, Mrs. Malloy. You keep one eye on the door the whole time. We've been looking everywhere for some beautiful
Oh,
hats.
I'm sorry. Have I kept you waiting? Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barbie Tucker.
Very happy to meet you. Can I help you? Won't you sit down?
Thank you, we will. You see, Mrs. Malloy, we are looking for hats. We've looked everywhere, but do you know what we heard? Go to Mrs. Malloy's, they said. So we came here. The only place we could go.
Well, that's very complimentary.
And they were right. Everybody was right.
Now, you wish to choose some hats for a friend.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
We were thinking of 5 or 6, weren't we, Barnaby?
5.
You see, Mrs. Malloy, money's no object with us.
Why, Mr. Hackle?
None at all. I beg your pardon, Mrs. Malloy. What an interesting street you have. Something happening every minute. Passing by.
You're from
You
out
see-
of town, Mr. Hackle?
Yes, ma'am. Barnaby, you keep your eye on the street, will you? You won't see that in Yonkers every day.
Yes, I will.
Not all of it.
Now, this friend of yours, couldn't she come in one day and pick her hats herself?
Oh, no. It's a surprise for her.
Indeed? Well, that might be very difficult, Mr. Hackle. I'm afraid that's not entirely customary. Your friend is very interested in the street, Mr. Hackle?
Oh, yes, he has a reason to be.
You said you were from out of town?
But yes, we're from Yonkers.
Yonkers?
Yonkers. Yes, Yonkers. You should know Yonkers, Mrs. Malloy. Hudson River, Palisades, Drives. Some say it's the most beautiful town in the world.
Is that so?
If you ever had a Sunday free, we'd like to show you Yonkers. You know, it's very historic, too.
That's very kind of you. Well, perhaps. Now, about those hats.
Is there have you, maybe Mr. Malloy would like to see Yonkers, too?
Oh, I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
You are! Oh, that's too bad. Mr. Malloy would have enjoyed Yonkers.
Very likely. Now, this friend of yours, is she light or dark?
Oh, don't worry about that for a second. Any hat you like would be perfectly all right with her.
Really? Do you like this one?
Barnaby! Barnaby, look! Mrs. Malloy, that's the most beautiful hat I ever saw.
Your friend is acting very strange, Mr. Hackle.
Barnaby, stop acting strangely. We're in the street. When the street's quiet and empty, then come back and talk to us. This... Where was I again? Oh, Yes, you should know Yonkers, Mrs. Malloy.
As a matter of fact, I have a friend in Yonkers. Perhaps you know him? It's always foolish to ask in these sort of cases, isn't it? It's Mr. Vandergelder.
What was that you said?
Then you do know him?
Horace Vandergelder?
Yes, that's right.
Know him? Why, no!
No?
No! I beg your pardon again, Mrs. Malloy. What an attractive shop you have! And where does this door lead to?
Oh, why, that's my workroom, Mr. Hackle.
Everything here is so interesting. Every door, every cupboard. Mrs. Malloy, Barnaby, notice the interesting doors and cupboards? Deeply interesting. Oh, what coats for the ladies? Barnaby, make a note of that table. Precious piece of furniture. With a low-hanging cloth, I see.
Perhaps your friend might like some of this new Italian straw. Mr. Vandergelder's a very substantial man and very well liked, they tell me.
A lovely man, Mrs. Malloy.
Oh yes, charming, charming.
Has only one fault, as far as I'm concerned. He's as hard as nails. But apart from that, as you say, charming nature man.
And a large circle of friends.
Yes, indeed. I would say about 5 or 6.
5.
He comes and calls on you from time to time, I suppose.
This summer, we'll be wearing ribbons down our backs. As a matter of fact, I'm awaiting a call from him this evening.
I think Cornelius.
Now, those hats.
Look out!
Oh, Barnaby!
Begging your pardon, Mrs. Malloy.
Mr. Hackle!
Help us just this once, Mrs. Malloy. We'll explain everything later.
But really, gentlemen, I can't have this. What are you doing?
Cornelius. Pudding?
Pudding.
Darling child, oh, how to be good to us, how well you look.
But what a surprise! And Mr. Vandergelder in New York, what a pleasure.
Good afternoon, Miss Malloy.
Yes, Mr. Vandergelder's in New York. Yonkers lies up there, decimated today. Irene, we thought we'd pay you a very short call. Now, you'll tell us if it's inconvenient, won't you?
Inconvenient, Dolly! The idea. Why, it's sweet of you to come.
We waited outside.
Mr. Vandergelder thought he saw 2 customers coming in, 2 men.
Men, Mr. Vandergelder? Men? Why, will you be saying next?
Now, then we'll sit down a minute.
No, write it down first. I would like to show you Mr. Vandergelder my workroom, too.
Why is your table moving?
Oh, I've seen the workroom 100 times. I'll stay here and try.
No, Dolly, you come too. I have something for you. Come along, everybody. Mr. Vandergelder! I need your advice. I feel like I need advice every minute from a fine business head like yourself. Now I shut the door.
Maybe she wants us to go, Cornelius.
Certainly I won't go. Mrs. Malloy would think we're just foolish fellows. No, all I want is the stretcher minute.
But what are we going to do when Mr. Vandergelder leaves? Are we going to run away?
Well, I don't know. I like Mrs. Malloy a lot. I wouldn't like her to think badly of me. I think I'll buy a hat. We can walk home back to Yonkers, even if it takes us all night. Barnaby, give me the rest of your money. My, those perfumes in that cupboard tickle my nose. But I like it in there. It's a woman's world and very different.
I like it where I am too. Only I'd like it more if I had a pillow.
Here, take one of these coats. I'll roll it up so it won't get mussed. The ladies don't like to have their coats mussed.
here and listen to Mr. Vandergelder talk.
This summer, we'll be wearing ribbons down our back.
Can I take my shoes off, Cornelius?
Isn't the world full of wonderful things? There, we sit cooped up in Yonkers for years and years. And all the time, wonderful people like Mrs. Malloy are in New York. And we don't even know them at all. I don't know from where you're sitting. You can see, well, for instance, the way her eye, forehead, and cheek come together up here. Can you? And the kind of fireworks that shoot out of her eyes all the time. I tell you right now, a fine woman is the greatest work of God. You can talk all you want about Niagara Falls or the pyramids. They aren't in it at all. Of course, up there at Yonkers, they came into the store from time to time and bought this and they bought that, and I said, yes, ma'am. And that'll be 75 cents, ma'am. And I watched them. But today, I've talked to one. Equal to equal, equal to equal. And to the finest one that ever existed, in my opinion. They're so different from men. Everything that they say and do is so different that you just feel like laughing all the time. Golly, they're different from men. And, oh, they're all famous theories, too. You could never really be sure what's going on inside their heads. They have this sort of wall around them all the time of pride and a sort of play acting. I bet you could know a woman for 100 years without ever being really sure whether she liked you or not. I'm in danger. I'm in danger of losing my job and my future and everything that people think is important. But I don't care. Even if I have to dig ditches for the rest of my life, I'll be a ditch digger who once had a wonderful day. Barnaby. Barnaby! Barnaby!
You woke me up.
We can't go back to Yonkers yet. And do you know why?
Why not?
We've had a good meal. We've been in danger of getting arrested. And we've had an adventure. There's only one more thing before we go back to being successes in Yonkers.
Cornelius, you're never going to kiss Mrs. Malloy.
Maybe.
But she'll scream.
Barnaby, you should know right now that everybody, except for us, goes around New York kissing right and left all of the time.
Wow! Thank you, Cornelius. You know, I often wondered.
Just a minute, Ivory. I must look for my head. Oh, why, Mr. Hackle, I thought you were up at Yonkers.
I almost always am, Mrs. Levi. Oh, Mrs. Levi, please don't tell Mr. Vandergelder. I'll explain everything later.
We're terribly innocent, Miss Levi.
Oh, who's that?
Barnaby Tucker. Just paying the call.
Oh, well, who else is in here?
Oh, just the two of us, just the two of us. That's it.
Old friends of Eileen Malloy's, is that it?
Well, we never knew Mrs. Malloy before a few minutes ago. but we like her a lot. Don't we, Barnaby? In fact, I think she's the most beautiful person in the world. I'm ready to tell that to anybody.
And does she think you're the most beautiful person in the world?
Oh, no. I don't suppose she even notices that I'm alive.
Oh, I suppose she must notice you're alive in that closet, Mr. Hackett. If I were you, I'd get back into it right away. Someone could be coming in at any second. Oh, go!
Sorry.
Dolly, can I help you?
Oh, no, I was just, blowing my nose. Here, let me help you with that.
Miss Malloy. Miss Malloy. Miss Malloy!
Lord Jesus.
I got some advice to give you about your business.
Advice from Mr. Vandergelder! Oh, the whole city should hear this.
In the first place, the aim of business is to make profit.
Is that
Oh,
so?
I never heard it put so clearly before. Did you hear that?
You pay those girls of yours too much. You pay them as much as the men. Girls like that enjoy their work. Wages, Miss Malloy, are paid to make people do work they don't want to.
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder thinks so ably. That's exactly the way his business is run up in Yonkers.
Miss Malloy! Miss Malloy!
Hey,
I'd like you to come up to Yonkers.
that's very kind of you. Thank you. As a matter of fact, I have a friend in Yonkers. Someone else.
Oh? Who's that?
Someone quite well-to-do, but free and easy in his behavior, I believe. Mr. Vandergelder, do you know a Cornelius Hackle in Yonkers?
I know him like I know my own boot. He's my head clerk.
Is that so?
He's been in my store for 10 years.
Well, I never!
Where would you have known him?
That was one of those chance meetings.
Yes, one of those chance meetings.
What? Chance meetings? Cornelius Hackle has no right to chance meetings. Where was it?
Well, it's quite unlike of you to question me in such a way. I think Mr. Hackle is more known than you think he is.
Nonsense.
He's in New York often and very well liked.
Well, the truth might as well come out now as later. Mr. Vandergelder, Irene is quite right. Your chief clerk is often in New York, goes everywhere, has an army of friends. Everybody knows Cornelius Hackle.
He never comes to New York. Cornelius Hackle in New York. He works all day in my store, and at 9 o'clock at night he goes to sleep in the brand
Oh,
room.
so you think, but it's not true.
Oh, Dolly Gallagher, you're crazy.
Listen to me. You keep your nose so deep in your account books you don't know what goes on. Oh, yes, by day, Cornelius Hackle is your faithful, trusted clerk, that's true. But by night, oh, why, he leads a double life, that's all. He's here at the opera and all the great restaurants and all the fashionable homes. Why, he's at the Harmonium Gardens restaurant 3 nights a week. The fact is, he's the wittiest, naughtiest, most delightful man in all of New York City. Why, he's the famous Cornelius Hackle.
It ain't the same man. If I ever thought Cornelius Hackle came to New York, I'd discharge him.
Who took the horses out of Jenny Lynn's carriage and pulled her through the streets? Who? Cornelius Hackle. Who dressed up as a waiter the other night at the Fifth Avenue Hotel and took an oyster and dropped it right down this... Oh, no, it's too wicked to
Go on, Dolly, tell it!
Oh, no, it was Cornelius Hackle.
It ain't the same man. Where'd he get the money?
Oh, why, he's very rich.
Rich? I keep his money in my own safe. He has $146.35.
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, you're killing me. Do come to your senses. He's one of the Hackles.
The Hackles?
Of course, you've heard of them. They built the Raritan Canal.
Then why should he work in my store?
Well, I'll tell you. Once
Shut up.
upon a time.
I don't want to hear it. I have a headache. I'm going home. It ain't the same man. He goes to sleep in my brand room. You can't get away from facts. I just made him my chief clerk.
If it any sense, you make him your partner. Now, I can see where his taken with him as everybody else is.
Oh, I only met him once and very hastily.
Oh, yes, I can see you were taken with him. Now, don't you be thinking of marrying him?
Oh, Dolly, what are you saying?
Oh, maybe it'd be fine to think it over carefully. Crushes hearts like hickory nuts.
Who?
Oh, Cornelius Hackle.
Miss Malloy, how often has he called on you?
Oh, I'm telling the truth. I only met him once. Dolly's been exaggerating, so I don't know where to look.
Excuse me, Mrs. Malloy.
Hackle.
Oh! I'll do that.
There's a man in there. We'll get him out. Whoever you are, come out of there!
Oh, cocaine down nonsense. There's no man in there, see? Lady Painter's been playing tricks on her. Now let's all sit down again. Oh, what were you saying, Mr. Van der Gelder?
It can't be him, I swear to God.
Well, now, I suppose it must be, oh, God bless you.
Yes, there is a man in there. I'll explain it all another time. Thank you very much for coming to see me. Good afternoon, Dolly. Good afternoon, Mr. Van der Gelder.
You're protecting a man in there!
Yes, and there's a very simple explanation for the present. Good afternoon, Mr. Van der Gelder.
Oh, Lord, the room's crawling with men. I'll never get over it.
Pieces. I can't believe my own eyes.
Come, Mr. Van der Gelder. Ernestine Simple awaits us.
Miss Malloy, I shan't trouble you again, and vice versa.
I mean, give me a chance. When I think of all the interesting things you have in this room, make the most of it, dear. Goodbye. Bye.
So that was one of your practical jokes, Mr. Hackle.
No,
Barnaby
Miss
Tucker!
Malloy.
You get out of there this instant, you troublemaker! Minnie, there's no need to be frightened. I know of all these gentlemen.
Mrs. Malloy, we
So
understand
you
what happened.
think that just because you're rich you can make up for all the harm you do, is that it?
No!
Minnie, this is the famous Cornelius Hackle who goes around New York tying people into knots. And this is Barnaby Tucker, another troublemaker.
What do you do?
Minnie, choose any hat and coat from the store. We're going out to dinner. This Mr. Hackle is so rich and charming, he's going to be rich and charming to us. He dines at the Harmonia Gardens 3 times a week, does he? Well, he's taking us there now.
Oh, Mrs. Malloy, are you sure it's safe?
Hold your tongue, Minnie. We're in the position to put these two in jail if they so much as squeak.
Jail, Mrs. Malloy?
Jail?
Jail, Mr. Hackle! Officer Kogard is in a position to do anything I tell him to do. Minnie, we've been respectable for years. Now we're in disgrace. We might as well make the most of it. Come into the workroom with me. I know a way we can perk up our appearance. Gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Mrs. Malloy! I heard there's an awfully good restaurant down near the railway station.
Railway station? Railway station. Certainly not. No, sir. You two are going to give us a fine dinner in the heart of the fashionable world. Go on in, Minnie. Don't you boys forget that now that our reputation is ruined, the fashionable world is the only place we can eat.
She seems angry. We better run.
No, Barnaby, no! I'm going through with this. If it kills me. Barnaby, for a woman like that, a man could consent to go back to Yonkers and be a success.
Okay, well, no woman's going to make a success out of me.
Jail or no jail, we're taking these ladies out to dinner. So grit your teeth.
Gentlemen, the cab's around the corner. Forward, march!
Yes, ma'am! Oh, Mrs. Malloy, is it far to the restaurant? Can we just walk?
Minnie, take off your things. We're not going.
Mrs. Malloy!
I don't go anywhere I'm not wanted, Mr. Hackle. Good night. I'm not very happy to have met you.
Mrs.
Malloy?
I suppose you think we're not fashionable enough for you. Well, I won't burden you. Good night, Mr. Tucker.
We want you to come with us. More than anything in the world, Mrs. Malloy.
No, you don't. Look at you. Look at the both of them. Scowling.
Please, Mrs. Malloy?
Then smile. Go on, smile. No, that's not enough. Minnie, come with me, we'll find our own supper.
Smile, Barnaby, you lamb.
My face can't smile any stronger than that.
Then do something! Something lively. Sing.
Sing? I can't sing. I really can't.
Minnie, we're wasting our time. They don't want us.
Barnaby, do you know any songs? Mrs. Malloy, all we know are sad songs.
That doesn't matter. If you want us to go out with you, then sing.
We're tenting tonight on the old campground. Give us a song to cheer our weary hearts, a song of home and friends we love so dear. Many are the hearts that are weary tonight, wishing for the war to cease. Many are the hearts that are looking for the right to see the dawn of peace.
We'll go. Yes. You gentlemen go ahead. Minnie, I'll get the key. You all have to
Wait, Mrs. Malloy, you're crying.
Oh, Minnie. Isn't the world full of such wonderful things? Now, watch me and see if my petticoat's showing.
There will now be a brief 15-minute intermission where food and drink will be sold in the lobby. Please remember that food and drink are not allowed in the auditorium. Therefore,
You'll miss lots of fun when you're married. Oh, Christ, romance, to stress on town, or stay out all night and play ball.
say. I don't want you to make any mistakes. I want a table for 3.
For 3.
There'll be 2 ladies and myself.
It's a bad combination, Mr. Van de Gelder. You'll regret it.
And I want a chicken.
A chicken? You'll regret it.
Hold your tongue. Write it down. Chicken.
Yes, sir. Chicken Esterhazy, chicken cacciatore, chicken a la creme.
A chicken! A chicken like everybody else has.
A chicken.
Chicken. And with that chicken, I want a bottle of wine.
Moussel, Chablis, Vouvray.
The waiter doesn't understand English, Mr. Van de Gelder. You'd better speak louder.
W-I-N-E.
Wine.
Wine. And I want this table removed. We'll eat at that table, alone.
Oh, Mr. Van de Gelder, there are some people coming in here now.
What? Thunder and damnation. It's my niece, Ermengarde. What's she doing here? Wait till I get my hands on her.
Now, Mr. Van de Gelder, you must keep your temper.
And there's that rascal artist with her. Why, it's a plot. I'll throw them in jail.
Mr. Van de Gelder, you can't just throw people into jail for coming to New York. They're old enough to come to New York.
And there's Miss Levi. What's she doing with them? It's a plot. It's a conspiracy. What's she saying to the cabman? Go up and hear what she's saying.
She's telling the cabman to wait, Mr. Van de Gelder. She's telling the young people to come in and have a good time, Mr. Van de Gelder.
I'll put an end to this.
Now, Mr. Van de Gelder, if you lose your temper, you're only going to make matters worse. Mr. Van de Gelder, come here and take my advice.
Stop pulling my coat! What's your advice?
Hide, Mr. Van de Gelder. Hide behind the screen and listen to what they say.
Stop pulling at me!
But I don't want to eat in a restaurant. It's not proper. Dear, there's nothing wicked about eating in a restaurant. There's nothing wicked even about being in New York. Clergymen just make those things up to fill out their sermons.
Oh, I wish we were back in Yonkers where nothing ever happens.
Oh, Ermengarde, you're hungry. That's what's troubling you.
Anyway, after dinner, you must promise to take me back to Aunt Flora. She's been waiting for me all day. She must be half dead.
All right, but you know, of course, at Miss Van Heusen's, you'll be back in your uncle's hands.
I can't stand it.
Just keep telling yourself how pretty she is. You know, pretty girls have very little opportunity to improve their other advantages.
Listen, Ermengarde, just stop and think. You don't want to go back to that old man with one foot in the
Or
grave?
the other 3 feet in the cash box.
Smelling of
And
oats
axle grease.
That's not true. That's only partly true.
Hold your tongue. I'm going to teach them a lesson.
Shh, Mr. Van de Gelder, you must keep your temper.
Oh, what was I saying? Oh, the Lord be praised. How glad I am that I found you 2 dreadful children just as you were about to break poor dear Mr. Van de Gelder's heart.
He's got no heart to
Oh,
break.
Mr. Van de Gelder's a much kinder man than you think.
Kinder, he's a wolf.
Remember, he leads a very lonely life. Now you're going to have dinner upstairs. There are some lovely private rooms upstairs just meant for shy timid girls like Ermengarde. Come with me quick now.
I'll show them.
You know, I always think that everybody should eavesdrop once in a while. Something like eavesdropping to show you that the world inside your head is different from the world outside your head.
I want to write a note. Go and call that cabman in here. I want to talk to him.
Advice of a cabman, Mr. Van de Gelder? They've seen so much of life that they have no ideas left.
Do as I tell you.
Yes. Advice of a cabman.
My dear Miss Van Heusen. Everybody's dear in a letter. It's enough to make you give up writing. My dear Miss Van Heusen. This is Ermengarde and that rascal Ambrose Kemper. They are trying to run away. Keep them in your house until I come.
What do you want?
I want to talk to you.
I'm engaged. I'm waiting for my parties.
I know you are. Do you want to earn $5?
Huh?
I asked you, do you want to earn $5?
I don't know. I've never tried.
When those parties of yours come downstairs, I want you to drive them to this address. Never mind what they say, drive them to this address. Ring the bell, give this letter to the lady of the house, see that they get in the door, and keep them there.
I can't make people go into house if they don't want to, sir.
Can you for $10?
For $10, I can't do it alone.
This fellow here will help you.
Now I'm pushing people into houses?
There's the address, Miss Flora Van Heusen, 8 Jackson Street.
mean, if I get them to the door, I can't be sure they'll say.
For $15 you can.
Murder begins at 25.
Hold your tongue. The lady of the house will help you. All you have to do is sit in the front hall and see that the man doesn't run off with the girl. I'll be at Miss Van Hoose's in an hour or two and I'll pay you that.
Oh, please, I can't do anything about it.
It's perfectly honest business. Perfectly honest.
Every man's the best judge of his own honesty.
The young lady is my niece. The young lady is my niece. She's trying to run away with a good-for-nothing, and we're preventing it.
I know them, sir. They're gonna win in the end. Rivers don't run uphill.
Ha! What did I tell you, Mr. Stack? Advice of a cabman.
That's you, you idiot! I'm Vandergelder. Along with these drunken idiots. I'll be back in a half an hour. See that the table's set for 3, see that nobody else eats here, then go and join the cabman on the box.
Yes, sir.
Jeez, who's your friend?
Friend? That's not a friend. That's an employer I'm trying out for a few days.
Not gonna like him.
I can see you're in business for yourself because you talk about liking employers. No one's liked an employer since business began.
Aw.
No, sir. I suppose that you think that your horse likes you.
My old Clementine, she'd have a right to feed for me.
That's what all employers think. You imagine it, the streets of New York filled with cab horses winking at one another. Anyway, let's go into the kitchen and grab some whiskey. I can't push people into houses when I'm sober. You know, I've had about 50 employers in my life, but this one seems to be the most employer of them all. He talks to everybody as if he were paying them.
You know, I had an employer once. He used to watch me from 6 in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. You know, just sat there. Just watched me. What do you, my mother didn't think I was that interesting.
Yes, being employed is like being loved. You know that somebody's thinking about you the whole time.
See, here's the place I meant. Isn't it fine? Minnie, take off your things. We'll be here for hours.
Are you sure you'll like it in here, Mrs. Malloy? I think I feel a draft.
Indeed, I do like it. We're going to have a fine dinner right here. It's quiet, it's elegant. Now, we're all going to forget our troubles and call each other by our first names. Cornelius, call the waiter.
Can't make a sound. I must have lost my voice on that ride. No, won't come.
I don't believe you. Barnaby, you call him.
Waiter! Waiter!
I never thought I'd be in such a place in my whole life. Mrs. Malloy, is this what they call a cafe?
Yes, this is a cafe. Sit down. Cornelius, Miss Levi gave us the understanding that every waiter in New York knew you.
Oh, they will.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh. How are you, Fritz? Oh, how are you, my friend?
I'm
Rudolph! Rudolph, of course, Rudolph. Well, these ladies want a little something to eat. Do you know what I mean? I mean, just if you could find the time. We all know how busy you are.
Cornelius, there's no need to be so familiar with the waiter.
Oh, yes, there is.
Minnie, what do you want?
Just anything I need.
No, speak up, Minnie. What do you want?
No, really, I have no appetite. Oh. I'd like some sardines on toast and a glass of milk.
Great grindstones! Oh, what a sensible girl. Barnaby, shake these hands. Go on. She's the most sensible girl in the world. Rudolph, bring my gentleman 2 glasses of beer, a loaf of bread, and some cheese.
I never heard such nonsense. We came here for a good dinner and a good time. Minnie, have you ever eaten pheasant?
Pheasant? No.
Rudolph, have you any pheasant?
Yes, ma'am. Just in from New Jersey today.
Even the pheasants are leaving New Jersey. Rudolph, write this down. Mock turtle soup, pheasant, mashed chestnuts, green salad, and some nice red wine.
Mock turtle soup, pheasant, mashed chestnuts, green salad, and some nice red wine.
All right. Barnaby, you listen to me. Rudolph! Write this down. Neapolitan ice cream, hothouse peaches, champagne!
Champagne?
And a German band. Have you got a German band?
Oh no, I won't let you be so extravagant. Champagne, yes, but a German band, no. And hurry up, Rudolph, we're hungry. Minnie, come with me. I have an idea about your hair. I think it'll look nice and chewy horns.
Oh,
Cornelius, they say in the army that you have to peel potatoes all the time.
Oh, don't worry about that. When we get out of jail, we can move right over to the old men's home.
Waiter, what's that you have?
It's some champagne, ma'am.
Cornelius, it's our champagne!
Oh, no, it's for the mayor of New York. He's very impatient.
Shame on him. The mayor of New York has more important things to be impatient about. Cornelius, open it.
Ma'am, he's going to kill me.
I go to dinner for the first time in 10 years and all the waiters burst into tears. Here, take that and stop crying, love. Barnaby, make a toast.
I? Okay. To all the ladies in the world, may I get to know more of them? And, may I get to know them better?
To the ladies!
That was very sweet and very refined, and for that, Minnie, I'm going to give Barnaby a kiss.
Oh?
Hold your tongue, Minnie. I'm old enough to be his mother, and a wee good mother at that one. Barnaby, this is to you from all the ladies in the world.
We can go back to the office, Cornelius. Pudding!
Minnie, look at Barnaby. His head's not strong enough for a kiss. He can't stand it. Minnie, I'm enjoying myself. To think that this happens in hundreds of places every night while I'm at home darning my stockings. Cornelius, dance with me.
Irene, the Hackles, we don't dance. We're, Presbyterians.
Minnie, you dance with me.
Lovely music.
Oh, Minnie, you dance beautifully.
Girls dance is nowhere for you when you're not looking at your knees.
You thought I'd be angry. Oh, dear. No one in the world understands anyone else in the world. Cornelius? Jenny Lind and all those other ladies? Do you see them often?
Oh, Irene, I put them right out of my head. Well, I'm actually interested in...
Rudolph, what are you doing?
A table's been reserved here. Special orders.
Stop right where you are. That party can eat outside. This friend is ours.
I'm sorry, but this friend is open to anybody who wants it. Here comes the man who brought the order.
Take your table away from here this minute. We got here first. Cornelius, throw him out.
Sit down. Excuse me, ma'am, but my employer reserved this room at 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can go and eat in the restaurant. My employer made it very clear that he would like a table alone.
No, sir. No. We got here first and we're going to stay here.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Shut up, you! You impertinent, idiotic killjoy!
That's an insult.
Every fact about you is an insult. Cornelius, do something! Knock it over! The table...
No!
can't be reserved for anyone. If you want to eat alone, you must go upstairs. I'm sorry, but that's the rule.
But we came here for a good dinner. Cornelius, knock it over.
Wait till you see my employer.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what we'll do. There's a big screen here. We'll put it up between the two tables. August, come help me.
I won't eat behind a screen. I won't. Minnie, make a noise. Okay. We're not animals in a menagerie. Cornelius, no screen.
No screen! Come on, Barnaby.
Minnie doesn't fight.
Rudolph, come here.
I feel 10 years younger. No screen. No screen.
Now you learned something. Here comes my employer now, getting out of the cab.
Where? I'll knock you down, too.
Ross,
It's Wolf Trap.
I don't like
Yes, it is.
Wolf trap! Everybody, please stop. Rudolph, I think the screens are a good idea. How many more screens have you got, Rudolph? We could do with 3 or 4 more of these bad
Quiet
boys.
down, Cornelius, and stop changing your mind. Hurry up, Rudolph, we're ready for the soup.
Stop!
What's the meaning of this? I told you I wanted a table alone. What's this?
Mr. Vandergelder, I did what I could. Mr. Vandergelder, you wouldn't believe what wild savages the people of New York are. Mr. Vandergelder, there's a woman over there. Civilization hasn't touched her.
Everything's wrong. You can't even manage a thing like this. Help me off with my coat. Don't kill me! Don't kill me!
Speak up, I can't hear you.
I think I lost my voice again. Barnaby, how's your throat? Can you speak?
Oh, Cornelius, I really...
I can't think so. Right, put your chairs together, we'll whisper.
Who are those people over there?
Some city sparks and their girls, Mr. Vandergelder. What goes on in big cities, best not to think of it.
Has the couple come down from upstairs yet? I hope they haven't gone off without your meeting them.
No, sir. Me and the cabman have kept our eyes on everything.
I'll sit here and wait for my guests. You go out to the cab.
Yes, sir. What's that? A purse. Mr. Vandergelder, did you drop something?
No, don't bother me. Do as I tell you.
A purse. That fellow there must have let it fall during a misunderstanding about the screen. No, I won't look inside. $20 bills. Dozens of them. I'll go over and I'll give it to him. You're surprised. You're surprised to see me getting rid of this money so quickly, eh? I'll explain it to you. There was a time in my life where my chief interest was taking money that didn't belong to me. The law is there to protect property, but sure, the law doesn't care whether a property owner deserves his property or not, and the law has to be corrected. There are thousands of people engaged in correcting the law each day, and so I too was engaged in redistribution of superfluidities. A man leaves all of his money to his widow. She sits in hotels and eats great meals, plays cards all afternoon and evening with 10 diamonds on her fingers. Call in the robbers! Call in the robbers! Or a man leaves it all to his son who stands leaning against the bar all night, boring a bartender. Call in the robbers! Stealing's a weakness. There are some people who believe that you shouldn't have any weaknesses at all. No vices. But if a man has no vices, he's in great danger of making vices out of his virtues. And there's a spectacle that everybody wants to see. We've all seen them. Men who are monsters of philanthropy and women who are dragons of purity. We've seen people who told the truth. Through the heavens fall, and the heavens fell. No. No. Nurse one vice in your bosom. Give it the attention it deserves, and let your virtue spring up modestly around it. Then, and only then, will you have the miser who's no liar, or the drunkard who's the benefactor of a whole city. Now, after I had my weakness of stealing for a while, I found another. I took to whiskey. Whiskey took to me. And then I discovered this very important rule that I'm going to pass on to you. It's your combination sinners, your lecherous liars, and your miserly drunkards who dishonor the vices and bring them into bad repute. So now you see why I want to get rid of this money. I want to keep my mind free to do the credit to whiskey that it deserves. And my last words to you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. One vice at a time. You got that? Nod your head. Thank you. Excuse me. Can I speak to you for a minute?
Why, certainly you can.
We all want to apologize to you about that scream. A little misunderstanding.
What's your name, sir?
Stack, sir. Malachi Stack. Now, if you ladies will excuse me, I'd like to speak to you for a minute. Now, listen, have you lost... Come here. Have you lost something?
Why, Mr. Stack? In this one day, I've lost everything that I own.
Here it is. Don't mention it.
Why, Mr. Stack? Do you know what this is? It's a miracle.
It's nothing. Nothing.
Barnaby! Barnaby! Come here a minute, buddy. I want you to shake hands with Mr. Stack. Mr. Stack's just on the purse that I lost. Do you know? The purse full of money.
You're a wonderful person, Mr. Stack.
I'm certainly glad I went to church all these years. You're a wonderful person to know, Mr. Stack. In a way, Mr. Stack, where do you work?
Well, I've actually just begun. I work for Mr. Vandegelder in Yonkers.
You do? Why, it's another miracle. Well, I know you don't need it, Mr. Stack, but maybe I can... Barnaby, come here. Maybe I can give you something for the good work?
Oh, it's nothing. It's...
Oh, here, take that.
Don't mention it.
Oh, and that?
All right, I'd better be going.
You know what? Just think all that.
No, I might get to like it.
Irene, I feel a lot better about everything. Irene, I feel so well that I'm going to tell the truth.
I'd forgotten, Minnie. Men get drunk so differently than women. All right. What is the truth?
Well, if I tell the truth, will you let me put my arm around your waist?
Hold your tongue,
You're a wonderful person, Mrs. Malloy.
Thanks.
All right, that's enough. Now, what is the truth?
Irene, I'm not as rich as Mrs. Levi said I was.
Not rich!
I almost never came to New York. And I'm not like she said I was. Bad. And I think that you ought to know. At this very moment, Mr. Vandergelder is sitting on the other side of that screen.
What? Shh. Well, he's not going to ruin any of mine. So that's why we've been whispering. All right. Let's forget all about Mr. Vandergelder and have some more wine.
What?
Good evening, Mr. Vandergelder.
Oh.
Where's Miss Simple?
Oh, Mr. Vandergelder, I'll never trust another woman again as long as I live.
Well, was it?
She ran away this afternoon and got married.
She did?
Oh, married Mr. Vandergelder to a young boy of 50 years old.
She did?
Oh, I'm as disappointed as you are. I can't even think what it's for.
Well, you told me to. A chicken.
Oh, I don't think I could face a chicken. Oh, waiter, how do you do? What's your name?
August.
August, this is Mr. Vandergelder of Yonkers. Yonkers' most influential citizen, in fact. I want you to see that you serve with the best you have and serve promptly. Now it'll only be the two of us. Mr. Vandergelder's been through some trying experiences today. What with men hidden all over Mrs. Malloy's store.
Miss Levi, you don't have to tell him everything about me.
Mr. Vandergelder, if you're thinking about getting married again, you may as well learn right now that you need to let women be women. Now, August, you want excellent service.
Yes, ma'am.
You manage things very badly. When I plan a thing, it takes place. Where are you going?
Oh, I just like to see you on the other side of this screen.
Oh, good evening, Mrs. Levi.
Well, who was it?
Oh, just some city sparks entertaining their girls, I suppose.
Always wanting to know everything, always curious about everything, always putting your nose in other people's affairs. Anybody who lived with you would get as nervous as a cat.
What was that you're saying?
I said anybody who lived with
Oh,
you would
Horace
get as...
Vandergelder, get that idea right out of your head. Oh, I'm surprised you even mentioned such a thing. Understand once and for all that I have no intention of marrying you.
I didn't mean that.
Oh, you've been hinting around at such a thing for some time, but from now on, put such ideas right out of your head.
Stop talking that way. That's not what I meant at
Oh,
all.
I hope not. I should hope not. Horace Vandergelder, you go your way, and I will go my way. I'm not some Irene Malloy whose head can be turned by a pound of geranium's white. The idea of you even suggesting such a thing.
Miss Levi, you misunderstood
I
me.
certainly hope I did. If I had any intention of marrying again, it would be to a far more, how shall I put this, pleasure-loving man than you. I'd marry Cornelius Hackle before I'd marry you. However, we won't discuss that anymore. Oh, here's August with our food. I'll serve it, August.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, here is some white meat for you, and some giblets, very tender, very good for you. No, Horace, as I said before, you go your way and I will go my way. Start right in on the wine. I think you'll feel better at once. However, since you brought the matter up, there's one more thing I am going to say.
I didn't bring the matter up at all.
Sit down, we'll close the matter forever in just a moment, but there's one more thing I am going to say. It's true, I'm a woman who likes to know everything that's going on, who likes to manage things, you're right about that. But I wouldn't like to manage anything as disorderly as your household, as out of control, as untidy. You'll have to do that yourself, God helping you.
It's not out of control.
Very well, let's not say another word about it. Take some more of that squash, it's good. No, Horace, complaining, quarrelsome, friendless soul like you is no sort of companion for me. You go your way, and I will go mine.
Stop saying
I
that!
won't say another word.
Besides, I'm not those things you said I am.
What? Well, suppose you're friendless, aren't you? Ermengarde told me this morning you'd even quarreled with your bar at keyholes for fear someone's cheating you. Have some more of that.
Dolly, you're a damn exasperating.
Exasperating? That's the difference between us. Oh, I've been nagging you all day to get some spirit into you. You could be a perfectly charming, witty, amiable lad if you wanted to.
I don't want to be charming!
But you are. Look at you now. You can't hide it.
Listening at keyholes? Dolly, you have no right to say such things.
Look, at your age, you ought to enjoy hearing the honest truth.
My age. You're always talking about my age.
Now, I don't know what your age is, but I do know up at Yonkers with bad food and bad temper, you'll double it in 6 months. Oh, let's talk of something else. But there's one more thing I am going to say.
Don't.
Sometimes, just sometimes, I think I'd be tempted to marry you out of sheer pity. If confusion in your house got any worse, I may have to.
I haven't asked you to marry
Well,
me.
please don't.
And my house is not confusion.
What? With Ermengarde upstairs in the restaurant right now.
I fixed that better than you know.
And your clerks skipping around New York behind your back.
They're in Yonkers where they always are.
Nonsense.
What do you mean nonsense?
Cornelius Handels on the other side of that screen this very second.
It ain't the same man!
All right, go ahead, shove it, knock it down, go and see.
I don't believe it.
All right. Eat your chicken. Of course, Horace, your affairs went from bad to worse and you became actually miserable. I might feel that it was my duty to come up to Yonkers and be of some assistance to you. After all, I was your wife's oldest friend.
I don't know how you ever got any such notion. Now understand, once and for all, that I have no intention of marrying anybody. Now I'm tired and I don't want to talk.
I won't say another word either.
Mrs. Malloy, I think we'd better go. Here, you take this, and you pay for the bill. Oh, don't worry. It's not mine.
No, I'll tell you what we'll do. Get my hat and veil from the rack, and when he comes stomping in here, he'll leave your girls.
What?
Yes, come on.
I have a headache. I've had a bad day. I'm going to Florida and Houston's, then I'm going back to my hotel. So, here's the money to pay for the dinner. 1 second. Here's the money to pay for the... No. Here's the... money. I lost my purse!
Impossible! I can't imagine you without your purse.
It's been stolen! Oh, I left it in the cab. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm new at the hotel. They don't know me. I've never been here before. Stop eating the chicken. I can't pay for it.
First, I'll be able to find some money. Sit down. Calm yourself.
Dolly Gallagher, I gave you $25 this morning.
Oh, I haven't a cent. I gave it to my lawyer. We can borrow it from Ambrose Kemper upstairs.
I wouldn't take it.
Cornelius Hammond could lend it to us.
He's in Yonkers. Waiter!
Cornelius? Is that Mr. Vandergelder's purse?
Well, I didn't know it. I thought it was just money wandering around loose that didn't belong to anybody.
Goodness, that's what politicians think.
Waiter!
Irene, doesn't Barnaby make a lovely girl? He does not stay that way.
Why should we have our evening spoiled? I know. We'll teach you how to dance, though. It'll only take a minute.
Barnaby is the easiest thing in the world.
Horace, you danced with me at your wedding and I danced with you at mine. Do you remember?
No. Yes?
Horace, you were a good dancer back then. Don't confess to me that you're too old to dance.
I'm not too old. I just don't want to dance.
Listen to that. Horace, do you remember the dancers in Yonkers at the firehouse on Saturday nights? I gave me a fan. Oh, come on, dance with me.
Pardon me.
No problem.
There's some dust on your mind. Let me help you with that. No, I swear. You're discharged! Not a word! You're fired! Where's that idiot Barnaby Tucker? He's fired too. I'm sure when I get my hands on him, I'm gonna... sight. I never want to see you again.
You can't do anything to me, Mr. Vandergelder.
There's your life, Mr. Vandergelder. Without niece, without clerks, without bride, and without your purse. Will you marry me now?
No!
Damn.
No, no, ma'am. I could swear I heard a cab drawing up to the door.
You imagine it. Imagination, everything in life. Like that. Disappointment, illusion, our plans, our hope, what becomes of them? Nothing. Story of my life.
Well, pray God, nothing's happened to the dear girl. Is it a long journey from Yonkers?
Hello. Long enough for 1,000 things to happen.
Well, we have been waiting all day. Don't you think we ought to call the police about it?
The police? Oh, if it's God's will, the police can't do anything to prevent it. Oh, in 3 days, in a week, in a year, we'll know what's happened to the dear child, and if anything terrible has happened to the poor girl, it'll be a lesson to him. That's what it'll be.
To who?
To that cruel uncle of hers, to Horace Vandergelder, and to everyone who tries to separate young lovers. Young lovers have enough to contend with as it is. Who should know that better than I? No one. Story of my life. Oh, there! Now I hear the cab drawing up. Quick.
No, ma'am. I don't see anything.
What did I tell you? Everything's imagination. Illusion.
Well, surely if your plans had changed, Mr. Pendergelder would have sent you a message.
Oh, I know what's the trouble. The poor child probably thought she was going to another prison, to another tyrant. If she had known that I was her friend and a friend to all young lovers, she'd be here by now. Oh, yes, she would. Her life shall not be crossed with obstacles and difficulties. Look, a minute ago, my smelling salts were on this table, and now they've completely disappeared.
There they are, ma'am, right in your hand.
Oh, goodness, how did those get there? Oh, I won't inquire. Stranger things have happened.
Well, I suppose Mr. Vandergelder was sending her down to someone?
Two can go astray as easily.
God bless you.
Oh, God bless you, too.
Now, here's the carriage stopping.
Oh, well, go open the door. It's probably some stick. It's stick. God bless you. So this is how I hear voices.
I don't want to come in. This is a free country, I tell you.
Forward march.
In you go. We have orders.
You can't make a person go where he doesn't want to go.
Excuse me, ma'am. Are you Miss Van Heusen?
Yes, I am. Unfortunately, what's all that noise about?
There are two people here that Mr. Vandergelder said must be brought here and kept here until he arrives, and here's his letter to you.
No one has a right to tell me whom I'm to keep in my house if they don't want to stay.
You're perfectly right, ma'am. Everybody's always talking about people breaking into houses, ma'am, but there are more people that want to break out of houses. At least, that's what I always say. Bring them in, Joe.
This young lady and I have no business here. We jumped into a cab, and then we're asked to be driven to the station. And then these men forced us inside of the house. There's been a mistake.
Is your name Miss Van Heusen?
Everybody's asking me if my name is Miss Van Heusen. I think that's a matter I can decide for myself. Now, will you all be quiet while I try to read this letter? This is Ermengarde and that rascal Ambrose Kemper. Well, now I know who you two are. Anyway, they are trying to run away. Story of my life. Keep them in your house until I come. Oh, Mr. Kemper, you have nothing to fear. Who's this?
I'm Joe. I get here to the old manor house. He owes me $15.
Yes, we are here to make sure that they don't escape.
Ermengarde, take off your things. We'll all have some coffee. You two gentlemen go out and wait in the hall. I'll send some coffee out to you. Come, take them.
Ma'am, we're not the people you're expecting, and there's no reason for you to be pinching my
Mr.
cheek.
Mr. Kemper, I am not the tyrant you think I am. You don't have to be afraid of me. All my life I have suffered from the interference of others. You shall not suffer as I did. So put yourself entirely in my hands. Now move out of the way. Ermengarde! Oh, where's your luggage, dear?
Good question.
It's been mislaid. It's been mislaid.
Oh, mislaid! How like life. Well, Ermengarde, you shall put on some of my clothes.
Oh, I wouldn't be happy, really. No. Oh.
She's a shy little thing, isn't she? A timid little darling. Come! Go put some gingerbread in the oven and get the coffee ready.
Yes, ma'am.
While I go and draw Ermengarde a good hot bath. Believe me, Ermengarde, your troubles are at an end. You two will be married tomorrow. Oh, my dear, you look just as I did at your age, and your suffering has been as mine. While you're bathing, I'll come up and tell you the story of my life.
Oh, I don't want to take a bath. I always catch cold.
Oh, you won't catch cold, dear. I'll slap you all over. I'll be back in a minute.
Barnaby, do you think we could jump down from this window?
Yes, we'd kill ourselves.
Barnaby, we have to do something. The situation's getting desperate.
It's been getting desperate 4:30. And it's been getting worse ever since. Now, I have to take a bath and get slapped all over.
Ermengarde, you still got your wet things on. Your bath is nearly ready, Mr. Kemper. Why don't you come into the kitchen and put your feet in the oven? Oh, that must be your uncle.
There's the doorbell.
Well, go answer it.
Looks like it's another man and a girl in a cab.
Come along, you two. Come on, Ermengarde. Come on, Ermengarde. Come on, Ermengarde. Help me here. Come on, Ermengarde. You two, Mr. Kemper, come along now.
That's impossible. Come in anyway. There's some mistake. All Thomas Van Heusen, but there's some mistake.
But I tell you, I am Mr. Vandergelder's niece. I'm Ermengarde.
Begging your pardon, miss, but you can't be Miss Ermengarde.
But here I am, and that's my baggage.
Well, Thomas Van Heusen, who you think you are, she won't like it.
You'll be safe here, Ermengarde. I better go before she sees me.
Oh, no, you must stay. I feel so strange here.
But your uncle will be here any minute.
You can't leave. You can't leave me in this crazy house with these drunken men in the hall. Ambrose, let's say you're someone else. Someone my uncle sent to take care of me. Let's say you're Cornelius Hackle.
Who's Cornelius Hackle?
He's chief clerk in Uncle's store.
I don't want to be Cornelius Hackle. No, oh my God, let's just run. I'll take you to my friend's house, or I'll take you to Miss Levi's house.
Why? It was Miss Levi who threw us right into Uncle Horse's face. I wish we were back in Yonkers where nothing ever happens.
Now, what's all this I hear from you say you are?
Aunt Flora, don't you remember me? I'm Ermengarde.
And you're Mr. Vanderbilt, isn't he?
Yes, I am.
That's very strange indeed, because he's just sent me another Ermengarde. He came with a letter explaining everything. Have you got a letter?
No.
Really? And who's this?
This is Cornelius Hackle, Aunt Flora.
Never heard of him.
He's chief clerk in Uncle's store.
Never heard of him. The other Ermengarde came with the man she's in love with, and that proves that she came with Mr. Ambrose Kemper.
Ambrose Kemper?
Yes, and Mr. Kemper is in the kitchen right now with his feet in the oven. Dear child, what is your trouble?
Oh dear, I don't know what to do.
Are you in love with this man?
Yes, I am.
I can see it. And are people trying to separate you?
Yes, they are.
I can see it. Who? Forrest Vandergelder?
Yes.
That's enough for me. I'll put a stop to Forrest Vandergelder's goings on. Mr. Hackle, think of me as your friend. Come into the kitchen to get warm. We can decide later who everybody is. My dear, would you like a good hot bath?
Yes, I would.
Well, when Ermengarde gets out, you can go on in.
Oh, Miss Van Heusen.
Why, Mr. Hackle?
Not yet! I'll explain everything later.
Mr. Kemper, this is Cornelius Hackle. Mr. Hackle, I'd like you to meet Mr. Ambrose Kemper. Maybe you two know each other.
Nope.
No, we don't.
Miss Van Heusen, I can tell you this man is not Ambrose Kemper.
And he's not Cornelius Hackle.
My dear young men, what does it matter what your names are? The important thing is that you are alive and breathing, aren't you, Mr. Hackle?
Ouch, Miss Van Heusen.
This dear child over there believes she is Horace Vandergelder's niece, Ermengarde.
But I am!
The important thing is that you are all in love. Everything else is just illusion.
Ouch, Miss Van Heusen!
Everyone keeps asking me if my name's Miss Van Heusen. Am I Miss Van Heusen? You two gentlemen, sit down, have a nice chat while this dear child has a good hot bath. Come on.
There's the doorbell again.
Go answer.
It's a cab and 3 ladies. I never saw such a night.
You two gentlemen can rest easy. I will see that Horace Vandergelder lets his nieces marry you both. Oh, goodness, what brings you here?
Oh, good heavens, Flora, what are those 2 drunken men doing in your hall?
Oh, I don't know. Horace Vandergelder sent them to me.
Oh, well, I brought you 2 girls in much the same condition. Otherwise, they're the finest girls in the world.
Now, girls, come now, follow me. Oh, hard I know.
Stand up now. I would like you to meet Irene Malloy and Minnie Fay.
Delighted to know you.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
Oh, I see you two gentlemen are here too. Mr. Hackle, I was about to look for you somewhere up here.
No, Mrs. Levi. I'm ready to face anything now.
Mr. Vandergelder will be here in just a moment. He's downstairs trying to pay for a cab without any money.
I'll help him.
Oh, yes, will you hear? You have to pay the restaurant bill. Oh, you must have hundreds of dollars there, it seems.
It's not mine. I can't give it back to
See, I'll give it back to him. Could you help him with the cab now?
Will someone please pay for this cab?
I'll help him with his landlord.
Mr. Vandergelder.
$15, Mr. Vandergelder.
You're discharged! You too! So I've caught up with you at last. I never want to see you again. You're discharged! Get out of the house! Both of you! Go!
Now, then, you. Stop ordering people out of my house. You can shout and carry on in Yonkers, but when you're in my house, you'll behave yourself.
They're both dishonest scoundrels.
Take off your hat. Gentlemen, you stand where you are.
Mr. Vandergelder, I can explain
There are
everything,
going to be
but-
no explanations. Horace, stop scowling at Mr. Kemper and forgive him.
That's not Kemper. That's a dishonest rogue named Cornelius Hackle.
You're crazy. That's Cornelius Hackle.
I guess I know my own chief clerk.
I don't care what their names are. You shake hands with both of them, or out you go.
Shake hands with those dogs and scoundrels?
Mr. Vandergelder, you've had a hard day. You don't want to go out in the rain now. Just for form's sake, shake hands with them. You can quarrel again tomorrow.
There. Don't regard that as a handshake. Hey! I never want to see you again.
Maybe I'm reason.
Yes, dear.
Do I smell coffee?
Yes, dear.
Can I have some?
Yes, dear.
Good luck.
Yes, dear. Come along, everyone. We'll all go have some coffee. Oh, we're not dancing.
Why not? I love you.
What did you bring me? Horace, you'll be delighted to know that there are 2 Ermengardes in there.
2?
Yeah. Let me say, go ahead, dear, go ahead. Ephraim Levi, I'm going to have to leave you now, Ephraim. I'm planning on getting married again. Ephraim, I'm marrying Horace Vandergelder for his money, that's all. And I'm going to send it out doing all the things you taught me. Oh, it won't be a marriage in the sense that we had one, no, but I shall certainly try to make him happy, and Ephraim, I'm tired. I'm tired of living from hand to mouth, and I'm asking your permission, Ephraim. Will you send me away? Money. Yes, money. It's like the sun we walk under. It can kill, it can cure. Mr. Vandergelder's money. Vandergelder's never tired of saying that most people in the world are fools, and in a way, he's right, isn't he? Himself, Irene, Cornelius, myself. However, there comes a moment in everybody's life at which he must decide whether he'll live among human beings or not. A fool among fools, or a fool alone. As for me, why, I've decided to live among them. I wasn't always so. After my husband's death, I retired into myself. Yes, in the evenings, I'd put out the cat, I'd lock the door, I'd make myself a little rum toddy, and every night before I went to bed, I'd say a little prayer, thanking God that I was independent, that no one else's life was mixed up with mine. And when 10 o'clock sounded from the Trinity Church tower, I fell off to sleep, and I was a perfectly contented woman. And so I thought. And one night, after 2 years of this, an oak leaf fell out of my Bible. I had placed it there on the day my husband asked me to marry him, a perfectly good oak leaf, but without color, without life. And suddenly I realized that for the longest time I had not shed one tear, nor had I been filled with the wonderful hope that something or other would turn out good. belief, and on that day I decided to rejoin the human race. Yes, we're all fools, and we're all in danger of destroying the world with our folly. But the surest way to keep us out of harm is to give us the 4 or 5 pleasures that are right in this world, and that takes a little money. The difference between a little money and no money at all, it's enormous. It can shatter the world, and the difference between a little money and an enormous amount of money is very slight. That also can shatter the world. Money, I've always felt money. Oh, pardon my expression. Money's like manure, you see. It's not worth a cent unless it's spread about, encouraging young things to grow. Anyway, that's the opinion of the second Mrs. Vandergelder.
Miss Van Houston asked me to bring you this.
Oh, thank you both. Sit down and rest yourself. What's been going on in the kitchen?
A lot of foolishness. Everybody's falling in love with everybody. I forgave them. Armengard and that artist.
Oh, actually you would.
I made Cornelius Hackle my
Oh,
partner.
you won't regret it.
Dolly, you said some mighty unpleasant things to me in the restaurant tonight. All that about my house and everything.
Oh, let's not say another word about it.
Dolly, you have a lot of faults.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You're bossy, scheming, inquisitive.
Inquisitive, yes, go on, go on.
But you're a wonderful woman. Dolly, marry me?
Horace. Oh, no, stop right there, no.
I know I've been a fool about Miss Malloy and that other woman, but Dolly, forgive me and marry me?
Horace, no, stop right there, no,
What do you mean?
You know as well as I do that you are the first citizen of Yonkers. Naturally, you'd expect your wife to keep open house, to have scores of friends in and out all the time. Any wife of yours should be used to that sort of thing.
Dolly, you can live any way you want.
Horace, don't deny it. Your wife would have to be a somebody. Answer me. Am I a somebody?
You are. Wonderful woman.
Oh, you're partial. Horace, it won't be enough for you to load your wife with money and jewels, to insist that she be a benefactress to all of the town. No, she must be a somebody. Do you really think I have in me to be a credit to you?
Dolly, everybody knows you can do anything you want to do.
I'll try. Oh, thank you. With your help, I'll try. Oh, by the way, I found your purse.
Were you? Wonderful woman.
It just walked into my hands. I don't know how I do it. Sometimes I frighten myself. Horace, keep it. Money walks out of my hands, too.
Keep it.
Horace, never thought I'd hear you say a thing such as that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know anybody was in here.
Didn't know anybody was in here? Idiot!
Come in, Barnaby, come in.
Come in, Barnaby. Come in.
Cornelius is going to marry Mrs. Malloy.
Oh, isn't that fine? Horace?
Barnaby, go in and tell the rest of them that Miss Levi has consented.
Finally consented.
Finally consented to become my wife.
Holy cabooses! Hey, everybody, listen up. Watch up. I mean, Mr. Vandergelder is going to marry Miss Levi.
Oh, Dolly, that's the best news I've ever heard.
What? Well, there isn't any more coffee, there isn't any more gingerbread, but there are 3. Right? 1. We'll see. 2, 3 couples in my house, and they're all going to get married. Oh, and wouldn't you know, one of those Ermengardes wasn't a girl at all. She was a man. Well, that's what life is. Disappointment, illusion. There isn't any more coffee. There isn't any more gingerbread. There isn't any more play. Oh, but there is one more thing we must do. Barnaby? I think the youngest person here ought to tell us what the moral of the play is.
I think it's about adventure. The test of an adventure is that when you're in the middle of it, you say to yourself, oh, now I've gotten myself into a terrible mess. I wish I were sitting quietly at home. And the sign that something's wrong with you is when you're sitting quietly at home, wishing you were out having lots of adventure. So that now, we all want to thank you for coming out tonight, and we hope that in your lives you have just the right amount of sitting quietly at home, and just the right amount of adventure. Good night.
I'm doing this, but I want to first thank the cast and the crew for thank you. All right, so construction crew. There we go. That's the sound guy. Construction crew would be Kyle, led by Kyle and Panawat for the heads. And then we have our costume crew, led by Anaya and Ariana. And next we have our lighting crew, led by Connor and Dylan. Next is makeup. We have Macy and Gianna as the leaders. And our paint crew with our three heads, Kathy, Gabby, and Jamie. Is our properties crew, Miguel and Andrew. And last but not least, the man who told me to turn the microphone on, the head of our sound crew, Jake. So Good job, everybody. You did a wonderful job, especially this on my first show here. Now,
Hello, hi, I'm Keelan Butafuka. I am the stage There's one more person that we'd like to thank. Sorry, my voice is like shot. If the assistant stage manager, O'Neill, can come up. Thank you for all your hard work, and thank you to all the heads for being role models for your crews and all your hard work. And if we could have the senior senior crew or senior cast just come up and take your final bow. That we'd like to thank, so I'm now going to pass it over to...
So what we do after the show is we dedicate flowers to those who helped us, and we wrote a little speech to our director. These flowers are dedicated to someone who's done all the set work with us, teaching us more and more every day as we worked hard, but still having fun as we spent days after school to build. Without him, none of this would have been possible. In fact, without him, the previous 4 shows would not have been possible as well. We didn't have a construction director for a brief amount of time, and with his arrival, we built sets we thought impossible before.
More than a mentor, he was our friend. He was a cool guy, so we'd crack jokes in between building sets or have discussion about Star Wars as we're moving toolboxes. He made coming in on the weekends and over vacations worth it. It was hard work, yeah, but everyone did it voluntarily. We were a whole big family when we were working, and we're forever thankful for your guidance. Mr. Chuckanowski, would you please come receive these flowers?
Next up, we have Joe Hassett. So we would not have lighting or any sounds whatsoever if it wasn't for him. He taught me and Connor everything that we know, and he works so hard. And right now, he even records the show, so you can watch it on his YouTube, Joe Hassett, if you want to watch it. Honestly, Joe, we can't thank you more than enough. So can you please come up and accept these flowers?
Alright, so this next person is someone who's really not well known, but goes, like her, she always checks up on us and is always there for us and always makes sure, like, we have everything we need, and she goes really unnoticed, but we appreciate her so greatly. Ms. Dreyfus, will you please come up and accept these flowers?
But when you came here and helped us from morning to night, in school and out,
We knew everything would be okay. Not only are you our friend, but our mentor. Thank you for everything, Picasso.
I want to thank one of the hardest working women in the school this school has to offer. Sue School, we live here, Into the Woods, and now Matchmaker would not be the same without her guidance with the sets. Picasso not only took on the previous advisor's job in PlayCrafters, but she's also taken on the role as my media TV production teacher for the past 2 years. Cap, seriously, thank you for teaching me the in and outs about pain, inspiring me to be the director I am today, and the numerous life lessons. You've always been there for me as a mentor and a friend, and I'm excited to learn with you for the next 3 months, even though I'm kind of sad that it's ending soon. Remember to make it your runway and get to work. And I know I'll see you in class next Monday, and I promise I'll probably get that project to you by Monday, but I'm not too sure. Haven't started on it, but I will get it to you soon.
Ms. Capasso, you have been extremely big part of not only this club, but our lives. She has been there to help us paint and help us through tough times. Every show she has been a part of couldn't have been done without her. We are not who we are today without her. The skills I have learned from her, I know I will take with me throughout my life as I pursue a career in arts. So Ms. Capasso, from all of us to you, thank you for being a big part of our lives. Will you please accept these flowers?
This last person, certainly not least, deserves so much more than just flowers, but we're broke high school seniors, so it's all we can give. I'm sorry. At the beginning of the year, there was a lot of confusion and stress as to who was going to take on this rigorous position, because as you can see, it's a huge production. It's a lot for one person to take on, but this person was an absolute godsend, and what's truly amazing about him is how he strives to bring out the absolute best in every one of us on stage and off, and I'm really upset that I only got 1 year with him because he's awesome and his family's really cute.
This person has contributed so much more than we could have expected. Not only has he directed the show, but his incredible passion for his craft inspired each of us every day to put our hearts and souls into everything we do. We've learned so much from him about how to approach difficult situations with a smile on our face, and we're all so happy to have welcomed him into the PlayCrafter family this year. Mr. Beck, these flowers are for you.